Hello dear students, this is the last concept in the second chapter, forms of a business organizations. Let us, we will discuss the concept is choice of form of business organizations. ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವೀಗ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬಂದಾಗ ನಮಗೊಂದು ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಾಡ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ. ದೇರ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಅರೈಸಸ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್, which type of organization or which type of a business or which type of a form of business organization is more suitable to start a business or to incorporation of a business or commencement of a business ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅದೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ concept is, the second chapter is forms of a business organizations. In that the last concept is choice of form of business organization. First I will explain, after that we will move on to the factors influencing the choice of form of business organizations. After studying the different types of forms of business organizations, each type of business organizations has its own merits and demerits or advantages and disadvantages also. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಈ ಹಿಂದೆ ಏನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬಂದ್ವಿ, ಸೋಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಪ್ರೈಟರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹಿಂದೂ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟೀಸ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಈಚ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಕೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ choosing a particular form of a business organizations, some basic factors are to be considered. Some basic factors are to be considered while choosing a form of a business organizations, because it depends on the ability of a person's, and it depends on the ideas generated in the minds of the entrepreneurs and the decisions of the entrepreneurs. It depends on the facilities available, or there may be chances the favorable market conditions for that kind of a product, or the availability of raw materials, availability of a capital. There are so many factors are to be considered before choosing or before selecting or before starting a form of business organizations. So that's why they listed some basic factors which are going to influence the choice of form of a business organizations. So let us discuss those points or those factors. So this is the table. This table indicates you or shows you what are the factors, most advantages for which type of business organizations, and least advantages for which type of business organizations. They given, okay, for what kind or for which type of business organizations is having more advantages, and other form of business organizations are having least advantages. So first we consider the availability of capital. Yes, in terms of the first factors is availability of a capital. In this, company is most advantageous We will go through the explanation of these factors later on. Just you have to see what are the factors which will influence the form of business organizations. Okay, so yaudilbodu availability of a capital, then company is the most advantage. It means it enjoys the advantages, but this is the least advantageous for sole proprietorship. ನಿಮ್ಮ question ಬರ್ಬೋದು sir ಹೆಂಗ್ರಿ? Yes, that will be discussed later. Just see, okay. Then second factor is cost of formation. Cost of formation. ಬಂದಾಗ sole proprietorship is the most advantageous, but compared to company is the least advantageous. Okay, the second factor. The third one is ease of formation. It means the formation of a company. Yaudu sole proprietorship is the most easiest way of a formation, but it is least advantageous for a company. ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಏನು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟದು ನಮಗೆ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ಇದು ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಹೋಗ್ರಿ, ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಫ್ ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್. ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಫ್ ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇದು EXCEPT ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್. ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನಾದರೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ವರ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನ, ಅಥವಾ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಕಂಪನಿ. Okay, it is most advantageous, but compared to partnership, the transfer of ownership is least advantageous for them. Then we will move to the next one, regulations. Yes, obviously, sole proprietorship is most advantageous for a business organization, but compared to company, this is the least advantageous for them. ಯಾವುದು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳು, ಕಾನೂನು ಮತ್ತು ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅದನ್ನು ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇಸ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಿಯಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಸೋಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಪ್ರೈಟರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ಸ್ of owners, he can adopt quickly the capitalization of the business activities, or there may be chances the market opportunities can be quickly implemented in the business, but that is not possible in case of a company. Next, continuity in the bandaga, company is the most advantageous, but compared to sole proprietorship is least advantageous. The last one is ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೊಣೆಗಾರಿಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಹೊಣೆಗಾರಿಕೆ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇಸ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಿಯಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಸೋಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಪ್ರೈಟರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಿಯಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗೋ ಥ್ರೂ ದಿಸ್ ಟೇಬಲ್, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜಿಯಸ್ and which are least advantageous for different types of a form of business organizations. Okay, I will pause this now. I want to explain the remaining concept. Andre which points are to be considered, okay, before starting a business. Okay, hello dear students, let us we will continue the same concept. These are the some basic factors are to be considered before choosing the form of business organizations. First one, cost and ease in the setting up of the organizations. Setting up the organization. Here we have to recall the formation of all types of business organizations. ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ 5 ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಈಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದ ಈಸ್, ಓಕೆ, ದ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ಸೆಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Let us take an example of a sole proprietorship. If anybody wants to start, if the initial capital, it means the persons, those who are having a little bit of a capital and initial capital requirements is also less, setting up of the sole proprietorship concern is very less. And also the cost required for starting a sole proprietorship form of a business organization is so less compared to company, compared to the cooperative societies, and also, but the partnership of form of organizations or the partnership of firm is also having an advantage of a cost and ease in setting up of the organization. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ sole proprietorship and the partnership of firm a little bit having an inexpensive form of business organizations. The cost and setting up of these two form of business organizations are so easy. But when we compare to company and cooperative societies, registration is compulsory. So that's why it requires so many legal formalities and provisions are to be followed. And the setting up of the company is so expensive and time consuming process. But the scale of operations, ನಾವು ಬರೀ ಒಂದೇ ಗಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ if anybody is interested to start a business in the large scale, then company and the partnership form of business organizations and the cooperative form of business organizations are more suitable, because the sole proprietorship form of business organizations is having a least cost and also a very there may be chances, okay, minimum legal formalities are there. But if anybody wants to start in a large scale on that moment, it is better to start a company or it is better to start a partnership form of business organizations. So that's why it depends on entrepreneur or it depends on the person, those who are interested. We have to consider there are so many things. First one, the cost. Sole proprietorship is required less cost compared to partnership. Cost will be contributed by different partners, then only it will be possible to generate a little bit of a capital will be collected from the partners also. But joining the family business is also not possible to the cost of setting up is also very less. But cooperative societies and company requires too much of a cost will be incurred for setting up of the business also. So that's why before going to choose any one form of business organizations, we must consider that the cost and ease in setting up of the organization. Okay, then we will move on to the next one, liability. Yes, obviously when we come to all types of business or all types of form of business organizations, okay, let us see. In case of the sole proprietorship, the liability of the sole proprietor is unlimited. In case of a partnership firm also, all the partners are having an unlimited liability. So this is also some risk will be involved in this type of organizations. But compared to joining the family business also, excluding or except other members in that family, Karta is having an unlimited liability. So from the point of view of liability, then these three form of organizations is not suitable. It means when we compare it to cooperative societies and company, because of the members' liability is limited to the extent of the contribution done by the shareholders or the contribution done by the members of that business. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, in case of a sole proprietorship and a partnership of all business organizations, and also in case of a joint in the family business, if the liability of the business or if the debts of the business is too high compared to the assets of that business, on that the personal asset or the personal property of the members will be sold to repay that loan or repay that debts to the outsiders. In the case of a co-operative society, in the case of a company, the creditors, it means the money lenders, can have rights over the asset of the property. They can sell those assets on which, okay, those assets are put it as a surety for that funds. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಬರಬೇಕಾದಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬಳಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಅವಾಗ ಸಾಲಗಾರರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಕಂಪನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾರಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಸೇಲ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿಯನ್ನ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಅವ್ರು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳೋ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ದ ಸೇಲ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ, they are not liable to pay the debts of the business which is beyond their contribution. Okay, then liability is also over now. You have to decide only, okay, which type of form of business organization is most suitable. Then continuity, yes, from the point of view of a continuity, sole proprietorship is having a least advantages, and partnership of form of business organization is also a least advantageous or least preferred form of business organization, because if anything happens to the sole proprietor or a proprietor, on that moment the business activities will be comes to an end when the full stop annu kodbekagtide now, because owner and business cannot be separated. Elli sole proprietorship olagade. In case of a partnership also, if anything happens to any one of the partner among the partners or death, there may be chances, okay, then events in such an event like death, insanity, imprisonment, bankruptcy, insolvency, physical ailment of any partner of a firm, on that moment also it is highly impossible to continue the same business activities, because the remaining members or the remaining partners in that firm, there may be chances of conflicts among the members. On that moment also, that partnership of firm of business organizations will comes to an end. But when we compare it to joint in the family business, if anything happens to the karta or the head of that family, and also he is the head of that business also, if anything happens to the karta, on that moment the next senior member, okay, the next senior member will occupy that position and he will continue that business. In case of a cooperative society also, because cooperative society and members are considered as a distinct from its members, okay, any member may come and any member may go out of that cooperative society. It will not affect or it will not affect the continuation of the operations of the cooperative society also. Compared to company, if anything happens to the members or if anything happens to the shareholders of that company, it means death, insanity, bankruptcy, insolvency, anything happens to the shareholders of that company, it will not affect the continuation of the company, because once the day from its incorporation, from the day of its incorporation, that company acquires a separate legal identity which is distinct from its members. Now already features anna helbekadaga amele advantages anna helbekada already explanation madidde nanu, because that if there may be a real procedure or there may be a specific procedure for winding up of that company, on that moment only the law itself, okay, put to an end for the operations of the company. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಯಾವುದು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಚಲೋ ಅಂತ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಬಿಲಿಟಿ. Yes, definitely when we compare it to sole proprietorship, a sole proprietor does not have that much of managerial ability to handle their business activities. But when we compare it to the remaining form of a business organization, there may be chances that different partners may have different there may be chances that 5 partners are there. Okay, all 5 partners are experts in a different areas like HR, marketing, finance, procurement, sales, marketing, finance. There may be chances the division of work is possible in case of a partnership also, and the decision making process is also good where in case of a partnership also, because the activity of that business will be divided to all the partners because they are working as a team. So then it is possible for them for management ability. Compared to joint in the family business also, a little bit of an advantage is there compared to sole proprietorship, because karta is the head of that business, but the family members are the workers or the family members also involved in that business. There may be chances the members of that family may support the karta to take decisions compared to cooperative society, because we already explained it is not possible to hire or it is not possible to pay higher salaries for the people or the persons those who are experts in those areas. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಾವು ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಕಮ್ ಟು ಕಂಪನಿ, yes, the companies are attracting those people, those who are experts in the areas of their professionals irbodu, in their areas of skills and knowledges. It means because company is distinct from its members also, the management of the activities of the affairs of the company that will be handed over to the other persons, because they have to carry on such a business in such a way that there will be there is no disturbance at all for the activities of the business. So that's why I think I already explained very well management ability ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಕಂಪನಿ ಬಹಳ ಚಲೋ ನಮಗೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ different contribution is also huge amount of a contribution will comes. A company can raise capital in next ಬರ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, because of the capital consideration ಬಂದಾಗ management ability ಇಂದ ಬಂದಾಗ different division of work is also there. There are different departments comes under company, each departments having experts, so decision making management of the activities of the company will be good compared to company. So next we will move to the capital consideration. If anybody wants to start, I am not saying that sole proprietorship is worst. If any person is having a little bit of a capital, if he wants to start an initial business with a less capital, then sole proprietorship for business operation is best. If any person having an idea of large scale operations, then obviously it requires huge amount of a capital. Then a little bit of a capital contribution will be comes in the case of a partnership. In a partnership of form of business organization, we will get little bit of a contributions of partners. ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೀಗ 50 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ 50 is a huge number compared to sole proprietorship. So from the point of view of a capital consideration, partnership is also good compared to joint in the family business, because the ancestral property is considered as a capital. So there may be chances that ancestral property may be less property may be there, then it is not suitable for the business. Then compared to cooperative society, capital will comes in the form of contributions of the members of that society. But when we compare it to company, huge amount of capital will comes for the company. Yes, it can raise the funds from the public through issue of shares. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಷೇರುಗಳನ್ನು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಕೊಡೋದ್ರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಅವರು ತಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬಂಡವಾಳವನ್ನು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್. Sole proprietorship is not possible for expansion of a business because it requires huge amount of a capital. In case of partnership also, limited contribution will be there. Then it means sole proprietorship, partnership is related to a little bit of a small scale operations. Cooperative, okay, and a company is requires huge amount of capital. Expansion is also good. So, from the point of view of capital consideration, company and cooperative society is best. Then degree of control. I think these two factors are there. Degree of control. Just go through the degree of control means if anybody wants to have a direct control over the business, if anybody wants to have a direct contact with the employees, or it means he individually wants to have a direct control over the business. If anybody wants to have a direct control over, or it means I must have that power of a decision making. It means some persons are there, they does not want to share their decision making powers or authority. They does not want to allocate the activities of the business to other persons. It means they themselves, it means that individuals wants to do themselves, it means they want to control over the business themselves. So on that cases, degree of control, then sole proprietorship is good, because one man army, he can take quick decisions, he can have a control over the business also, he can have a personal contact with the customers also. Then sole proprietorship is good. When we compare it to the partnership is also good. Degree of a control is also possible because the division of work is also there. Okay, different types of partners are there because in their area of expertise knowledge, it means they have their own knowledge in different areas. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಸಮ್ there may be chances of a difference of opinion on the same issues maybe comes in the partnership. That is, the conflict between the partners maybe arises in a case of a degree of a control. In case of a joint income family business also, because Karta does not have that much of a knowledge. Okay, because the traditional way of doing the business, that method is followed by the Karta, and whatever the decisions taken by the Karta, that decision is not accepted by the remaining members of that family. On that moment, there may be chances of a conflict, or they does not satisfy the decisions of the Karta. Because of the decisions taken by the Karta, that business incurred any loss. On that moment, some disputes will be there. And when we compare to cooperative society also, degree of a control, it means all those members of that cooperative society, they does not have that much of a knowledge because they render services on a voluntary basis. So that's why they does not. It means these societies are not able to pay high salaries to employ the persons, those who are expert, those who are having that much of an ability to handle or to control over the activities of the societies. But when we compare to the company is good compared to degree of a control, because each department of that company that will be handed over to the head of the department will take care of that department. But the decision making process is too low because there are certain levels are there. Degree of control ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಟಾಪ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇರ್ತಾರ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮಿಡಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇರ್ತಾರ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಲೋವರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇರ್ತಾರ. There may be chances the decision making process, if the lower level management wants to take any decisions, then that will be supplied to the middle level, then that will be supplied to the top level management, then it will be reached to the board of directors. Then the decision making process will be low. There may be chances miscommunication between the department heads. Okay, there may be chances of conflicts among the conflicts among the members of that business will come. Then last one is the nature of a business. It depends on what kind of business you want to start. If you want to start with a small scale, then sole proprietorship is good. Little bit of operation, whether it is service oriented or whether it is a manufacturing oriented. It means a cloth merchant. If you want to start a small business, then sole proprietorship is good. When you are starting, it means if you don't want a personal contact with the customers, then large scale operations is good. So that's why it depends on what kind of a business you want to start. It depends on the nature of a business. Service oriented, production oriented, okay, or one-to-one contact is necessary. ಅಲ್ಲಿ professionals ಬರ್ತಾರ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಾರ. So that's why I will stop now only. I will in the next class I will see you a table. That table is having difference between all those, okay, form of business organizations are there. So until, okay, take care. Okay, thank you.